Hi guys, Harry here, and on Wednesday the 3rd of August we had the Pokemon Nintendo Direct where they were announcing all their games, what is coming in all these games, and of course there was World Champion tournaments as well being held and where and what's included in there. But at the front of everyone's minds were, what about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet? And the Nintendo Direct didn't disappoint, as we didn't get one trailer for Scarlet and Violet, but two trailers for Scarlet and Violet. Just a normal trailer that we've seen before, and then a deeper dive into it where there was someone describing some of the things that are happening. But I will be going over these trailers, giving my insight into it, what they didn't include in the deeper dive, and what I think this could all mean for Scarlet and Violet. But before we get into the video, don't forget to subscribe, also leave a like and comment down below, and let's get into the video. So, before the trailer starts, we have these kind of plushies of the starters, and they're all on their legs. Sprigatito is on its hind legs, which is of course a reference to fans hoping that Sprigatito's final form will not be bipedal. But we don't get any look at the starters evolutions, we don't get a look at the middle evolutions, and we definitely don't get a look at the final evolutions, so we're still holding out hope that it will not be bipedal, even though the Sprigatito at the start, just before the trailer, was on its hind legs, it was bipedal. But I think this is just a fun reference. And going from one thing that fans do not want, we also have something that fans thought they would never get. And that is that Scarlet and Violet are the first open world games, which a lot of people thought Legends Arceus was going to be. But for the first time, we have it now in Pokemon, which is insane. So you don't have to go to this area and then have to go to this area, but you can enter this area. And this provides a lot in Pokemon, as we will get into later in the trailer. So the actual trailer opens with when we see a lot of Pokemon. We see Growlithe and Arcanines together in a grassy field with a mountain in the background. Maybe that's, as I've referenced, the mountain that we saw in the first trailer. That is a reference to the La Palma volcano that had like a dragon's head in the side of it. And of course the La Palma volcano is a real-life volcano in Spain, but that's just what I thought the mountain could be in the first trailer, and maybe it's that mountain from the first trailer. And then we see autumn forms of Deerlin and Sosbux in an autumnal type field, obviously really suiting it, as of course Deerlin and Sosbux change with the times, so maybe we'll have seasons back in Pokemon. Of course, the Deerlins and Sosbux will change with the seasons, and in this one, it was an autumnal feel, as we are going to be leaving summer at the end of this month, entering into autumn, and of course, that will be when the games come out in autumn. We then see Houndour and Houndooms in like this desert landscape where there is a tall black tower in the background that we saw in the last trailer. I thought maybe it was one of the gyms, and I still think it could be one of the gyms, as it's just a really cool one. And I think Houndour and Houndoom really suit that tall black tower really aesthetically. I think they go well together. We then get a look at a cute new form, Palladium Wooper, which is a poison ground type. So of course a new form on Wooper, as they are continuing with the Alola forms and the Galarian forms, and now Palladium forms. This is like a new form of Wooper, so obviously we'll probably get a new form of Quagsire, although we haven't seen any Quagsire yet, and I have a theory about that later in the trailer. And these Woopers are living in a swampy area, and these Palladium Woopers have adapted from other Woopers that we've seen, the regular Woopers, as they haven't had to live, they've had to live on land instead of underwater for so long, which is why they've changed to poison ground typings and why they look different, because they were forced out from where they lived underwater, so they couldn't keep the form that they were in before. We also see some snow runts on a snowy mountain area, so maybe there's this one place where it's really cold. We know that there is going to be an ice type gym, so maybe you have to trek up this mountain to get to the ice type gym. I will have more on that later. And we also get a couple of Gyarados swimming in the lake, and it looks like the lake that we saw in the first trailer where the shot sort of came in and went past. So of course I think there's quite a bit of water in this trailer, but I'm really excited to see obviously strong Pokemon in the wild, like in Legends Arceus and also Sword and Shield. And the last Pokemon species we see in this shot is Murkrow and Honchkrows on top of a coastline or a cliffside at night, and of course they normally come out at night, and I think it really suits them obviously aesthetically. But most of the Pokemon we see here, not all of them, but most of them have their base form and then their evolution, normally 2 lines. And I think that provides a lot with the link of the new thing we get, like the Mega Evolution, the Z Crystal, and the Dynamax of this region, which I will explain what it is later. And I also see another link between something that has recently come out, and it links into this new aesthetic, but I will go into a bigger explanation on that when I get into the section of this new feature.
Attention please. Today we begin the treasure hunt. Travel across Paldea.
So the next part of the trailer, we see this building with 3 spires and the giant Pokeball, of course, which we saw from the last trailer, which is where the different academies are obviously in the different games of Scarlet and Violet. And it is revealed that the Scarlet Academy is the Narinja Academy. Sorry if I butchered that, but in Spanish, Narinja means orange, so of course, and that explains why it is on the coat of arms of the Scarlet Academy. And in Violet, it is the Uvra Academy. Sorry if I butchered that, but Uvra means grape in Spanish, which of course is why grapes are on the coat of arms of the Violet Academy. And we see each of the fruits on each of the academies. Of course, the orange on the Scarlet coat of arms and the grapes on the Violet coat of arms. And of course, we see in the background this tree top house on the Scarlet side, and we also see the this observatory on the Violet side, of course suiting the past of the Scarlet very well and the future of the Violet very well. We then see the director of the academies, Mr. Caval, which in Spanish, calv means keyhole and Caval means carnation and Val means old. I could see all of these factoring into him as key code, of course, are like the keys to the academy. Val, he's a bit older, he's a bit of an older man, and Caval, carnation, of course, with all these fruits, and obviously the flowers factoring in, creating a new vibe in Scarlet and Violet. And Mr. Caval is the one that announces what the main part of the game is, which is what is called the treasure hunt, which are 3 things, and it's gym battles, of course, and there is no set path to the gyms, which is insane and crazy. So there is no first gym, there is no 8th gym. You can go in whatever order, and it is insane. This might be from, of course, Pokemon Origins, that in that show, the gym leaders gauge how many Pokemon you are, and what level you are, and how many badges you use. And they use the appropriate level Pokemon, and they limit how many Pokemon they use due to how good you are as a trainer, which is based on how many badges you have. And I think this is great, as fans have been calling for that, which is, of course, another reason why they brought that into the game, and is insane. And then, moving past that, even though I know this is insane, there is also completing the Pokedex with all these new Pokemon that we'll see later in the trailer, and of course, the new phenomenon of this region.
Get to know the region. The abundant nature.
Then in the next part of the trailer, we see the two legendaries, Corridon and Miraidon, and they seem to be ride Pokemon like in Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. So I wouldn't be surprised if we got them before you even get your first gym badge, and that will be insane. But that is what it is looking like. It's looking like they are replacing the ride Pokemon from Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, and also the bike from previous regions, as well as Sword and Shield, even though we do see a Rotom phone later in the trailer. So we get a couple of shots of the player riding on Corridon and the player riding on Miraidon as well, and I'll just go through them quickly. We get Corridon going through like a couple of grassy fields, passing a couple of Giraffarigs, with the mountain on the background that again looks like the La Palma volcano mountain from the first trailer, so maybe that's the mountain instead. We also see it running through another grassy field with Sosburk, and we see Miraidon running through a not so grassy field with Mareeps, and of course, as I say, it looks like Corridon and Miraidon are replacing the bike. Again, the Rotom phone kind of linked into the bike, but I don't know, it looks like they are just replacing the whole thing entirely. No bike and no ride and no other ride Pokemon. We see them obviously replacing these HMs, as we see Corridon climbing up the mountain, of course replacing the rock climb TM. We see Miraidon jump off a cliff and fly, replacing the fly HM. We also see Miraidon surfing through the water, of course replacing the surf HM, and we also see Corridon flying as well, and it looks like these are the only Pokemon out and about. So I don't know what that means for Pokemon following you. We might not get Pokemon following you, and same to Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon and Sun and Moon. The ride Pokemon are probably not going to be able to be used in battle, but there is more of that later in the trailer. And we see that the Violet landscape and the Scarlet landscape are a bit different. The Violet one seems more grassy, and it looks like we have the mountain in the background, and the Scarlet one seems more desert-like, more sparse of life. However, there is also half that landscape is also water, so maybe it is doing just well, but maybe this is just the left-hand side of the region and the right-hand side of the region, of course, as we got different shots of it, although maybe there are different landscapes in each of the games, which I think will be cool, but it might be too much for the obviously the makers of Pokemon to do.
The abundant nature.
Then in the next part of the trailer, we see more shots of Pokemon. We see Skidoos and Go-Goats in this grassy field. We see Miraidon running through this swampy area filled with Dreadnoughts. Now, before that, we saw the same place where the Woopers were the new form of Wooper, and of course that was at the start of the trailer. So Palladium Wooper and Dreadnought might have a rivalry, as it does say that this type of Wooper had a struggle for territory and lost. So maybe there is a rivalry there, and maybe we haven't seen any Quagsires as they were killed by the Dreadnoughts. I know that might be too dark for Pokemon, but it just kind of makes sense why we don't see any Quagsires, but that might just be because they didn't want to announce them. However, it is revealed that the Dreadnought is kind of revealed that the Dreadnought has forced Wooper out into this swampy area, so they've had to adapt and change into the Palladian Woopers. And that kind of makes it like the rivalry between Zangoose and Seviper and other ones that have a rivalry between each of the species. So maybe we'll get some of that in the game. If Hordes return, we might get like some shots of like Woopers with Dreadnoughts or Quaxos with Dreadnoughts and them attacking each other in the game as we got in X and Y. So I just think that would be pretty cool, and it would be cool to see if that's actually what had happened explained in Pokemon. We then see Koraidon running past a couple of Cufant, which are in a snowy background, probably where the snow runs were earlier in the trailer, and of course Cufant is from Sword and Shield, and we go past them, and Koraidon stops at the Pokemon Center fueling station that we saw in the last trailer, with like 3 sections for each of the games. Of course, we have the Pokemon section, the Pokemon section, and the Wi-Fi connection section, so for trading, battling, and all of that.
The rich culture.
Then in this part of the trailer, we get more of the Scarlet coat of arms with the treetop house in the background, and the Violet coat of arms with the observatory in the background, which of course was the reverse of the last trailer, where Violet had the treetop house in the background and Scarlet had the observatory in the background. But of course they are now swapped around because it suits them more. Of course Violet would have the more modern observatory type area, and Scarlet would have the more primitive treehouse area. And we see in the Scarlet Academy library there is a Psyduck. So Psyduck, of course, with their heads is weird to see when in the library studying when they get chronic headaches. And we also see a Golduck later in the trailer. And then we spot a Palladian form of Sunflora, it looks like, as it looks a little bit different, and it looks like it's in a plant pot. So maybe it's just a normal Sunflora, and it gets like a new ability, like Ice Cube with its ice face and its non-ice face form, and Sunflora will have like a plant pot form, but I don't know, it's just weird to see a Sunflora in a plant pot. Then in this part of the trailer, there we come to like this little area, like this little village or this little town with a neon sign with a Meowth light up head on there, and Meowth and Persian have been shown a lot, so maybe Persian is getting an evolution, a new form like a Palladian evolution. So I think this could be pretty cool, as Meowth and Persian have both been shown in the trailers quite a lot, but they have never had a new form, so maybe they are getting a new evolution. And in this little town or village, there is a neon sign, and the neon sign reads LPE, and then Meowth's neon head in the middle, DON, which could maybe be a reference to Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, as of course we have LPE, so Let's Go Pikachu, and then LE, Let's Go Eevee, and of course Nintendo, obviously Nintendo, and these were the first Pokemon games on the Nintendo Switch. And I translated this from the Galarian alphabet, so I might be wrong, as I couldn't translate any of the other signs that made any sort of sense. So maybe this is a wrong translation, but I just thought that could be a cool thing in the game Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, and of course Meowth is a Gen 1 Pokemon.
The Pokemon.
Then in the next part of the trailer we see more shots with Pokemon, with 2 fletchlings just hanging out with this girl with a scarlet top on in a field of flowers, so maybe she goes to the Scarlet school, the academy. And then we see a new Pokemon, a fairy type Pokemon, Fido, which he's just so cute, and he's like a little pastry dog, and is obviously a combination of the words Fido, a name for dogs, and an Italian dog that came to the public attention because of his demonstration of unwavering loyalty to his deceased master, and of course dough, a malleable mixture that can made into be bread or pastry. Of course, a little pastry, a little bread dog, and it's just so cute, and it's a fairy type, which I think suits it extremely well. And we see more Pokemon with 3 Vigoroths jumping around, sleeping, slacking near to a small body of water. Again, a lot of water in this generation I've just seen through the trailers, so maybe this will be a similar landscape to the Hoenn region. And then we also see 3 Cacnea with a Cacturn. Of course, Vigoroth slacking, Cacnea and Cacturn, all Gen 3 Pokemon, just something to think about. And then we see 3 Donphants just in this field by a rocky cliff that has a waterfall over it. And in the next shot we see 2 Dragonairs in a body of water which looks to have a waterfall going over it. So maybe you go over the waterfall and that's where the Donphants are. The Dragonairs living up at the top of where the water source is, and the Donphants living down by where the waterfall ends for them to live and get their water. We then see a Pineco hanging from a tree, which gets passed by a Fletchling, another Fletchling. So a lot of references to Fletchling, as well as we see a Talonflame later in the trailer. But moving past that, we then see a couple of Mistreviouses with a Mismagius at night with a third Mistrevious entering from the from just outside a frame. We just see it enter, so maybe there's some sort of new form of Mischievous, maybe another form, like how the East and West Gastrodon lived in harmony, just in different areas, obviously the East and the West. So maybe there's this similar thing with Mischievouses and Mismagiuses. So then we see 3 Cubchews with a Beartic in this snowy area, maybe where the snowy areas were before, where the snow runs were, and at the start of the trailer. And we also see some Pikachus in an autumnal area. Maybe this is a reference to the kind of the Pikachu area in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, or maybe they're just hanging around in this autumnal area with the Deerlings and Sosbucks, as of course this trailer will be dropping in the autumn. And then we move into the next part of the trailer where we see the town. And there are some Pachirisus in the town with some Swabloons and also with some Drifloons as well. Or maybe these Drifloons and maybe even the Swabloons are just some balloons, as they are next to a balloon cart. And I think it would be really funny for Drifloon if they were balloons, because of course it has balloon in its name and it's like Drifloon, and it would just like drift off like balloons just drift off. I think it would be really funny. And of course the balloons will be mostly sold to children, so it's funny vice versa, as Drifloon normally takes children away, these children are taking away the Drifloon balloons. I just think that's funny. And there is also a Pincurchin in a sandwich shop as well. It looks like kind of like a Subway shop. I just think it's funny, like the Subway universe of Pokemon, which I just think is really funny. We then get to meet all the people in the Paldea region, when we see this woman with long black hair and a black tracksuit, and this black-haired man with like this pink shirt with yellow stripes. So I think they'll factor heavily into the different academies. And then we see the many different trainer classes. We see the beauty, we see the black belt, and we see this hooded character with a spray paint gas mask and a spray can strapped to like this holster thing he has. Maybe this is an update of the artist/painter class that the painter class was introduced in Fire Red, Leaf Green, and we saw the artist class introduced in X and Y. Of course, maybe this is an update on them, and there's more like spray paint artists spray painting. I think this would have worked well in the Galar region, but we'll just have to see how this plays out in Scarlet and Violet. I can see it working out as well. So maybe this is an update on the artist/painter class. And then we again see this new kind of trainer class, maybe an actor class finally, as we had the model class back in Sword and Shield. Maybe this is an actor class now, and he has the PokeStar Studio logo on his t-shirt, and PokeStar Studios is obviously from Black and White, where they were try to get new actors to participate in, obviously, the studio, PokeStar Studios. And I think that could be really fun to see that, as it's a kind of minor thing from a game quite long ago, Black 2 and White 2.
Where will you go?
And then in this part of the trailer, we come across some fortified grounds, maybe a stadium. It looks a bit like it we're inside. And on the door are the flags with the fire symbol from the last trailer. Of course, when they were going through the treasure hunt, the flags again showed up with a fire symbol on it. So maybe this is the evil team's base, or a gym. Maybe a gym leader who doesn't want to be a gym leader, like Pierce from Spikemuth. But that was kind of the last generation, so I don't know whether they would repeat that again. But they might, or it might just be something where you have to go to get the new feature of this region, or it is an evil team's base. And we also get a look of another weird place, the weird Black Tall Castle that we saw in the last trailer. That also makes an appearance, and maybe that could be a gym or an evil team base. I just think it looks a bit weird, so it could suit either one. And speaking of that big, tall, weird black castle type of place, we see Corridon flying into this mining area, which appeared alongside this. We had this mining area in the last trailer, which appeared alongside the weird black castle building. So maybe something facts into there, maybe a ground type gym leader.
Who will you meet? What will you achieve?
And then in the next part of the trailer, we see more people that will be more in our story. Of course, we see Nemona, our battle rival friend, and we of course see the professors, Professor Sadar and Professor Toro, who we obviously saw in the last trailer, as well as Nemona. And then we see some new characters. We see Penny, who is like this shy girl, who has like an Eevee backpack, and she also has, I think, on one of her legs, she has like a Driflim cross on her leg, coloured red. I just think that's cool to sort out. So maybe she has an Eevee on her team, or an Evolution, as well as Drifloon or Driflim. And we also see Arven, who we see in a bigger shot of him, a more central shot of him, that he is a member of the Ouvra Academy, the Violet Academy. Again, sorry if I butchered that pronunciation. However, Arven may be in the same school as you are, so he's in the Violet Academy in Pokemon Violet, and he's in the Scarlet Academy in the Scarlet game, and so he may be in the same school as you, but it's just weird to see him so centered in the most central shot of him is with a violet uniform on. But in the next shot, we see someone with a similar bag and a similar hairstyle to him in Scarlet Bottoms, in this cave, and also in this like surrounding like this mushroom, maybe in a cave or maybe in a dark woods. So and it looks a lot like him. So maybe he's just changing on each game. We then see Grusha, the Ice-type gym leader, who has Pokeballs at the end of her scarf, and Grusha is probably made up of the words Grush, meaning to crush, and Glacier, a dense body of ice, as of course she is the Ice-type gym leader, and she is of course dressed very much that way, with a scarf, a hat, and gloves on, and she has a new Pokemon called Titan, which is a pure ice type, of course, for the ice type gym leader, and it has Titan in its name, referring to how big it is, as it says that is very big and strong in its in a little explanation about it. And again, as I've mentioned before, there is Talonflame fighting it in the gym battle, and there have been a lot of Fletchling seen, so I don't know whether Talonflame and and Fletchling will like result into the story somehow. I don't know, it's just a thing I thought I would mention. And then speaking of gyms, we see these ridiculous looking cars with the same fire symbol as the flag before. So maybe this is a gym mission or task to get into the gym or to get to the gym leader, as we have these gym missions in Sword and Shield. So I think this would be like kind of cool to have, although they are ridiculous looking cars.
With you will be your Pokemon. Journey together. Learn together. Grow together.
In this part of the trailer, we then see more on the Pokemon. We see the 3 starters again with exactly the same footage of the last trailer, Sprigatito in flowers, Quaxley flowing his hair about in water, and Voicoco lighting an apple on fire. Then we get a look at the characters as they are dressed a bit different and look a bit different, so maybe we'll have a bit more free reign with customization than we first thought. We won't just have to have a plain uniform as we've thought of before. And one of the Violet characters has a Rotom phone, as the same in Sword and Shield, so maybe we'll have the Pokedex the same as in Sword and Shield. It's just weird again with the bikes, as Rotom factored a lot into that, but it looks like Koraidon and Miraidon are replacing the bike. We then get a shot of a Scarlet character with his team, which consists of Sylveon, Scizor, Altaria, Electros, Hatterene, and of course Lechonk, which just like 10 out of 10 team is amazing. Lechonk, just having Lechonk is a 10 out of 10 team already, and of course the other ones are of course incredibly exciting. Maybe these are all the Pokemon in Scarlet, as it was a Scarlet character that was shown, although maybe they're just shown across in Violet as well, and we just had to have one character to show them all. But it's just nice to see Lechonk in a team. Maybe this is a link to it not evolving, although I hope it does evolve and becomes really powerful. We also then get a shot in the overworld of a Noibat evolving into a Noivern. So maybe Pokemon are following you, and if they get enough experience, like you make curry with them, or you throw them at a tree, something that gives experience, they'll evolve in the overworld, or maybe they'll evolve like halfway into a battle, like they beat a Pokemon, they get enough experience, and they evolve in that battle. I think that would be really cool as well, and that is another thing fans have really wanted. Then back at the Pokemon Center / gas station, we see a trade of an Ice Cube and a Stonjourner. So of course they're trading in there. They're in the game, and we see a battle between a Scizor and a Golduck. Of course, we've seen Scizor and Psyduck before, so I don't know whether they'll factor in. I don't know whether Scizor is more, Scarlet or Violet, and Golduck is more Scarlet, or whether this is a training battle between the two. We've seen them both advertised. We've seen Scizor for Scarlet and Violet, so I don't know, and we've seen kind of Psyduck just centered around Scarlet, so I don't know what this is. Maybe it's just a training battle. And we also see a battle between Hydreigon and Hariyama, so a really cool battle. Of course, Hydreigon and Hariyama are in the game.
Find something to treasure.
And then we get into the big event, the big thing of this generation, which is called terastallizing, which happens to every Pokemon, I think it is, and they get this kind of cool headgear. It's like a chandelier, and it looks like something like their type. Like grass types will get flowers, water types will get like this with like body of water, like chandelier. Fire types will get like a normal chandelier with flames, and a normal type will get like a diamond. So I think that's really cool. And not only does it give them some cool headgear. Their type gets boosted and it makes their moves stronger as well. So maybe this is a bit more like Mega Evolution. Maybe it lasts all the time like Mega Evolution until they obviously get knocked out. I just think it looks pretty cool. And we see a wide range of Pokemon terrestrialize, and we see a Persian, an Azumarill, a Drifloon, which I think when it terrestrializes, its type is fire. We also see a Lilligant and a Dragonite and a Slowking. And it seems you can catch these terrestrial Pokemon in a similar way to Dynamax dens in Sword and Shield. As it looks a bit like that, it looks like 4 people are fighting this massive terrestrial Pokemon, and that looks a bit like the Dynamax den raid battles in Sword and Shield. And the way you throw the Pokeball is similar to the one in like Sword and Shield. It becomes like crystallized and it looks like a Pokemon's terrestrial form. And I mentioned it at the start of the trailer. It looks a lot like Miss Marvel's hard light power in her show, in of course Miss Marvel. So, I mean, did Pokemon copy from Marvel or did Marvel copy from Pokemon? I mean, it looks extremely similar, her hard light, to the way that these Pokemon terrestrialize, especially when it kind of sparks up into gems and then the Pokemon emerges. Again, a lot like Miss Marvel's power. It started off as hard light and now she's more embiggened, so it's a lot of parallels to that.
Let the treasure hunt begin.
And then we get the final shot of the trailer of the legendaries, where they go into their final form. But this is probably at the end of the game, and you can use them in battle then. But again, this is probably at the end of the game, so after the 8th gym maybe, so you probably can't use them a lot in the main story. However, I think it is still cool that they are starting off not as this is something that quite a few people can get, but not all of them can evolve into the legendary Pokemon. And then we get the end screen that says the game will be released on Friday, November 18th, 2022, and you can, of course, early purchase them. And as an early purchase bonus, you can receive a special Pikachu that knows Fly, has the Fly and Terra type, and of course can terrestrialize, which will be available until Tuesday, February 28th, 2023. Mystery gift that can't be obtained through normal gameplay. But I think that is great that we have got not one but 2 trailers for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I can't wait for the games. Let me know down in the comments below what you can't wait about the games. Let me know if you liked this video. Don't forget to leave a like if you did. Also subscribe and share it out. And I will see you in the next one.